became a career firefighter with the Howard County Department of Fire and Rescue Service, the chief of the medical division, or EMS, the unofficial historian of the Howard County Department of Fire and Rescue Services. Over 65,000 digital images and newspaper articles, magazine articles, etc. Episode 24-34, Big Fires in Howard County. That's big fires. Big fires by the size of the structures and the volume of fire that occurred. This is the fourth in a series of discussions about the big fires in Howard County. We discussed the C.R. Daniels fire from 1972, the huge mill fire that occurred. We discussed the St. Charles College fire, seminary out in West Friendship, Ellicott City area of Howard County, adjacent to Doe Reagan Manor. It was, again, quite a large building. I think it was almost 500 feet long, 4 or 5 stories high, and burnt to the ground, or at least is gutted. Then we also discussed the Rock Hill College fire, another religious order. This one was located in Ellicott City at New Cut Road and College Avenue. Again, another large structure that burnt and could not be saved. We'll be discussing now the St. Mary's College fire, which is located in Ilchester, Maryland. Again, it was a religious order, religious college. It was a religious college cornerstone was laid for the college in September 12, 1867. It stayed in existence as an active college until 1972, when enrollment and overhead costs required it to be closed. There were actually 2 major fires that occurred on the property of St. Charles College. The first was on June 14th, 1968, when the lower structure burned. It had been a church and a meeting place. The lower structure burnt on June 14th, 1968. And then in 1997, actually Halloween evening of all things, October 31st, 1997, the main structure, the college itself, burnt and was ultimately destroyed. For years prior to that last fire, that particular structure had been abandoned. Vandalism was rampant, and for about a decade it had gained notoriety and was known as the Hell House. And kind of ironic again that the final fire was on Halloween, October 31st, 1997. St. Mary's College, located in Ilchester, Maryland, actually along the Patapsco River, halfway between Ellicott City and Elkridge. The original cornerstone for the structure was laid September 12, 1867, where it was known as Mount St. Clement from 1868 to 1882. The college itself closed in 1972 and remained vacant until Halloween evening of 1998. There were actually 2 major fires at this location. There was the lower house, which is now going to be the building we're looking at on the upper right-hand corner, that had been used as a church, meeting hall, etc. And that particular structure succumbed to fire back in 1968. The college itself closed down in 1972 because of decreased enrollment and overhead to keep the building open, and went into disrepair, and actually it became a vacant structure, vandalized significantly, and also had the distinct naming of it being called the Hell House because of vandalism and cults, etc. that went there and did cult things. The main structure, again, the main college itself, succumbed to fire in 1998. Just the St. Mary's College from the building, just marking the college itself. It was a 4 to 5-story building of significant volume, and was very active as a college for quite a few years. I guess almost 75 to 100 years. The structure itself is located in Howard County, right along the Patapsco River, in downtown Ilchester, at the intersections of River Road, Ilchester Road, and Bonnie Branch Road. Just an original photo of the college itself. You can see it's located on top of a hill there, and in the lower left-hand corner was the lower structure, again, used for services and events, social events, etc. And back in its day, just looking at it, it looked like very nicely manicured lawns, etc. So it was certainly a structure to behold. Again, same image, just a little larger. And again, you can see the lower structure on the lower left-hand side and then the main structure up top. And as you can see, it was rather a significant building. This image is just showing the complex with the main structure in the center of the picture. And again, the lower structure at the bottom left of the picture. It was 1968 that the lower structure caught on fire and was destroyed by fire. And the upper structure structurally lasted until, 1998, I believe it was. Of interest, I ran one call here, an EMS call here in 68, 69 to pick up one of the brothers, I believe it was, that was ill. And as is with most cases, or at least it seems that the individual who needed the EMS services was on the top floor of the building. As I recall, it did not have an elevator and wide steps that went up to each level. And I remember having to climb up those steps, and I think with a stretcher. I don't know whether you had a stair chair or not, but a stretcher all the way to the top, and then brought him all the way back down the steps and placed the gentleman in an ambulance and off to the hospital we went. But that's the only time I actually ran a call to that particular structure. When the church itself, seminary, and St. Mary's College actually stopped functioning, they were relocated several miles up Ilchester Road to what is known now as Our Lady of Perpetual Help School on Ilchester Road. And that particular structure is active and thriving even today. Again, just looking at a picture of the structure of the college back in 1868, and you can see that certainly some magnificent grounds surround the structure. And as I'm looking here, it looks like at minimum a 4-story structure and maybe a 5th story in there as well. Looking at the Ilchester Road train station, which was adjacent to the lower section of St. Mary's College, which is the building to the right, and the train station itself in the center left. The train service was essential to getting the students, faculty, and whomever to the site out of Baltimore, and having its own train station made that certainly achievable. As you look at some of the pictures, not only here, but a little bit later on, and even today, notice in the lower left-hand corner, the road, River Road, Ilchester Road, as it went underneath the railroad tracks. That location has had multiple revisions and relocation of the tracks and the road, etc. As we look here, it's a tunnel that goes underneath the tracks. You get from one side to the other. Today, there is no tunnel. The road just merely passes underneath the tracks as they had been redesigned and rerouted many times in the past. Again, this is just looking at the college itself. You can see this is an image of us standing by the railroad tracks. Behind us, behind the camera, behind us is the actual tunnel coming through the hillside and enters into the Bowman Bridge that was constructed back in the day to get train traffic over. And we're looking here at the lower section of the St. Mary's College, the structure that you see with a little cupola. And behind it, even further up the hill, would be the main structure of the St. Mary's College. And just the narrative, again, is saying that the St. Mary's Church was in existence and thriving for close to 100 years. So it was a landmark and a well-used structure for decades and decades and decades. This is just an image of the lower structure of St. Mary's College, with the main structure being behind this and out of view. An image showing the St. Mary's College and some of the structures downhill from the college. Guess going down towards the train station in downtown Ilchester. Just a rendition of downtown Ilchester. A couple things of note. This had to have been created in the mid to late 1800s. There's some things of note. You can see the Patapsco River to the right, the Ilchester Mill, or Bulger's Brothers Mill on the right-hand side. Up on the hill is St. Mary's College, which you don't see as you wind down the steps heading to the track. You don't see the lower structure, which I'm making the assumption had not been constructed as of this time. Train station is there. As I said before, take a look at the underpass of the train tracks. It has changed shape yet again. The bridge has changed shape. The River Road vehicle bridge on the lower right is present, and that will have changed shape many times over during the years that the college was in operation. Just an image of the building itself. I do not know where this is in relationship to, is it front, back, left, right, but an image of the St. Mary's College. This image, again, is showing the college itself and the lower structure. And if you read the narrative, someone was trying to use the college as a hotel for travelers. That is, they went to the college or going up and down the railroad tracks along the Patapsco River, could use a tavern to stop at. However, the amount of travelers really never materialized to support a tavern, and it eventually went by the Wayside Inn, as it was called. The structure itself, the college grounds, did have a telescope up on the hill that they could observe celestial bodies, so to speak. And this is just an image showing the priests in their long robes. When this first opened, this particular observatory was on top of the hill and was not obstructed by any trees or whatever, so I'm sure it made for an interesting viewing of celestial bodies. You're far away from Baltimore City, Ellicott City, so it would have been relatively dark and easy to see planets and what have you. Today, it was totally overgrown. I'm sure it was quite the structure and innovation back in the day. Of interest, about a mile to 2 miles up Ilchester Road from the St. Mary's College was the Ilchester Post Office. Now, granted, it was built in 1850, but as we read the narrative together, in 1842, there was a post office. Originally, it was in the train station, but in the 1950s, an actual post office was built. And as you can see, it's a rather small structure by anyone's imagination. The image is just saying that the two biggest entities that utilized the post office there were St. Mary's College and the Trinity School off of Ilchester Landing Road. This is actually taken at St. Mary's Industrial School on Wilkins Avenue, actually across the street from St. Agnes Hospital. That's where Babe Ruth went to school, started playing athletics, and actually Babe Ruth also actually got married in Ellicott City. Exact date, I'd have to look that up. In reality, this probably has nothing to do with St. Mary's College, but we'll say that Babe Ruth went to school at that particular facility across the street from St. Agnes Hospital, went on to a stunning Major League Baseball career. And of note, he actually did come to Ellicott City and got married at St. Paul's Church back in the day. Just looking at a picture of St. Mary's College after the big fire. This was taken on or about November 6, 1997, and the fire having taken place on Halloween of that particular year. The building was gutted and stayed in disrepair until it was finally taken down around 2003, 2004. Just a brief narrative, the only narrative I could find, news narrative that I could find, just talking about the parish hall was destroyed by fire. The old seminary, the structure that was destroyed, it appears that St. Mary's College at the time of the lower parish fire was almost 100 years old, and that the parish hall was about 20 years old as of 1968. And these are just a couple of images of St. Mary's College after the big fire and after years of neglect, with the building slowly starting to decay and to fall apart. Just another angle of the death of the St. Mary's College. Please use your remaining heartbeats wisely and not waste a single precious one.